Greetings, good morning, or good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are. My name is Veronica Marie, and I am a coach, an emotional wellness coach, among other things. And I come to you in that capacity this morning to talk about anxiety and healing through anxiety. Before I begin, I would like to remind you that I have a Healing Through Anxiety group on Facebook. You can gain access to that group by going to my website at veronicamarie.com and sending me an email. And I will gladly send you the information. So this talk is informal. It's a very loose and casual talk about anxiety. My goal here is to give you some ways to think that might help you heal through anxiety or experience a situation that previously brought anxiety to the surface. I want to help you experience it in a less intense way. So, I want to start by talking about the stress response. When the body goes into a stress response, the result is not always anxiety. Sometimes we go into a stress response, the heart is racing, you're getting hyper focused, you're sweating, there's a little bit of nervousness. But when you feel prepared, when you feel excited, when you feel in passion, when you feel like you are anticipating the event or the scenario, then you have a positive experience of stress. It begins to invigorate you. The rapid heart rate is perceived by the body as invigoration rather than draining. You feel hyper focused in a pleasant way. Now, there are some situations that cause a stress response to produce anxiety as opposed to feelings of elation and invigoration. And the ones that produce anxiety, the situations that produce anxiety in us are usually the situations where we have some belief systems around the topic at hand. Anxiety is the result, it is the bodily experience of your thoughts, and a collection of thoughts is called a belief system. So when you have anxiety and it's triggered right away, there are always preceding thoughts. But if this program, I call it a program, if this belief system is automatic because you've practiced it over and over and over again, you may be unaware of the thoughts. And so I want to help you slow yourself in such a way that you begin to notice the thoughts. The thoughts usually sound the same, something like, I'm not enough, I'm not going to be enough, I'm going to fail. What if I fail? What if I don't have enough resources? What if I'm not safe? I'm unsafe. In some way, shape, or form, I am not safe and I will not be able to control my safety or the safety of people around me, people that I love. These feelings will produce anxiety. So as you're going about your day, with this intention, I want you to set the intention to notice thoughts that come along with the anxiety and write them down. Just that action in and of itself is telling your subconscious that I want to do something different with this. I don't want to just flow with it like I usually do. I want to see what's coming up. And when your subconscious picks up that energetic pattern, right, then the thought will move slower through your system so you can grab it, write it down. Mindfulness. When you look at the thought, and this is going to happen over time, so I don't think you should do this with a severe anxiety producing situation. Maybe something small, like you're in traffic. What are my beliefs about this? Right. Sometimes people experience road rage because they are usually governed by time. They feel that they don't have enough time already. Usually, people who don't have enough time are racing for time, even when there's no need to. They're hurrying along because their body is in a pattern of movement and avoiding being late, because being late has had some consequence in their past. Maybe being late caused them to be fired, or maybe being late caused them to miss an important meeting or important information. But most of the time, being late in our culture is seen as not having yourself together. It's seen as unprofessional and so on and so forth. So we don't want to be seen in an unfavorable light. And so needing to be a place at a certain time will produce anxiety because of how we think about the time. So in a simple situation like that, you can ask yourself, when I have to be somewhere, how much time will make me feel comfortable? How much time do I need to get ready? How much time do I need to travel? How much time do I need to get settled before I go in? I remember experiencing huge anxiety when I had appointments with four young children, very young children, because life was so unpredictable. I couldn't tell who was going to need a diaper change at the last minute, who would fall, who would fuss. And that began to be anxiety producing. So I asked myself, what do I need ideally? So I came up with a simple plan, which was I will take an hour for each child. I'm sorry, a half hour for each child, an hour for me to get dressed. And that's how I decided what time I would wake up. And of course, I'd give myself plenty of wiggle room just in case I overslept. And once I got up, I had a system, like a routine. The bag was already packed. So food, snacks, all of those things have been anticipated rather than me running before it's time to go to the place, trying to get it all together with four children. You see, when I simplified my life, then I experienced less anxiety. But it took me to realize that I didn't have to experience anxiety around that to even look at some alternatives. So I would like you to hear that we don't have to experience anxiety. There are other ways. There are ways to heal through it. But we cannot heal through it if we don't believe that we can. Some people believe that they have to have anxiety because they always have. They have always experienced anxiety in this particular area. And so they cannot shift. And that's not judgment. That's not bad. There's a season and a time for everything. But when you are ready, or when you're ready to take the first steps, one of the first steps is recognizing that you don't have to have anxiety. Now, the next question is, how do we go about this? Okay. So one way is to go about your day, notice the times that you experience anxiety, and try to notice thoughts that are coming and write them down. That's one way for you to see your thoughts, see how your mind works. This will lead to greater intimacy. And it also gives you an opportunity to shift that thought because you now see it. As long as you don't see it and it's going on unconsciously or subconsciously, then you can do nothing about it. Okay. So, number one, remember today that there are ways of being that don't include anxiety for you. You don't have to have anxiety in this particular area. The second part is to, with mindfulness, notice when you are experiencing anxiety, what are your thoughts sound like? Write them down or say them out loud so you can hear them. Usually that act in and of itself will deactivate the thought because you can see that it's not true. All right. Like, let's say you're in traffic and a person cuts you off, like makes a sudden move. That will cause a stress response, but the meaning you attribute to it will cause anxiety. Okay, the stress response is, I need to pay attention because danger is at hand. That's what your body is responding, how your body is responding. Now, once you have the stress response, there's some thoughts coming. That person is doing this unnecessarily. This person is stupid. This person, people don't know how to drive. All of these things that we rehearse is what creates the anxiety. Before long, you don't like to drive because this is what always happens. Well, what's true is that people often make unpredictable decisions that affect us. And we have to believe that everything is as it should be in order to accept that sometimes people are going to do things we don't like. And sometimes that thing is going to be sudden. Sometimes people are in a rush. Have you ever been in a rush? You can think about times you've been in a rush and you wanted to skip the line. You felt justified. Relating to people will help you come out of anxiety. Also, when you remember, hey, yeah, I experienced that once before. Okay, I see. Understanding can help. But in order to do that, you have to become aware. So become aware today. And that is it. My name is Veronica Marie. Remember, I'm a fitness coach, a nutrition coach, an emotional wellness coach, and a feminine wisdom mentor. And I feel delighted to help people live a healthy and a happy life as I do it for myself. We're on the same journey. I offer tools, tips, and strategies to help you live that healthier and happier life. You can find me on my website at veronicamarie.com if you should want one-on-one coaching, and any other program I'm giving at the time will be there as well. I'm signing off. Have a beautiful, productive